How Venom will join Sinister Six in Spider-Man No Way Home. Let's put this Venom in the MCU, guys. Let's speak about what all of this means for Spider-Man's No Way Home in this video. Keep an eye out for updates. How will Venom come back? Who will the other villains be? Who is bringing all of these villains into the MCU? And how does this all tie into the Sinister Six's No Way Home? It's something I'm passionate about, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it. So, in the Let There Be Carnage post-credits sequence, Venom takes Eddie to the main MCU reality in some way. Venom reveals that the symbiotes share a hive mind connection that exists in several realities, thus I presume that Doctor Strange's magic fractures reality and causes a multiverse convergence in which other Spider-Men and their antagonists from various realms appear in the MCU. This explains how Venom ends up in a parallel universe. Eddie was supposedly sent to Spidey's reality by Venom. The symbiote hive is to thank. But since Venom appears astonished, it's possible that he's not entirely to blame for the universe teleportation. Venom and other Spider-Man villains are being taken from their universes by a villain from the MCU, according to my theory. Someone who will assemble the Sinister Six and use them to take out Spider-Man. Let's start with Venom before we go on to the ominous Six. Venom's first instinct when he sees Spider-Man on television is to lick the screen. As a result, I'm guessing Peter is on the Venom's menu. There is no Spider-Man according to what we know. Why is that? In Spider-Man 3, the hive mind might explain it. Spider-Toby fought toe for Venom, and if all symbiotes communicate knowledge across the multiverse, Poison must be aware of his variant's experiences in the Raimiverse, where Venom despised Spider-Man. So this Venom despises Spider-Man too, but it's possible that it's not only Spider-Man 3's Venom, but other Venoms and symbionts that might have fought Spider-Man versions throughout the multiverse. That leads me to believe that Venom is hardwired to despise Spider-Man. Love, like hate, is the only thing we're capable of perceiving that transcends dimensions of time and space. This could explain why Venom would join the other villains as they make their way aft. Venom, after all, is largely an anti-hero. As a result, there must be a motivation for Venom to battle Spider-Man. Maybe Venom's primordial instincts take over, putting Eddie in the back seat and forcing him to go for Peter. I'm a Predator, and there's a chance there's some magic and mind control involved, but I'll get to that later. Carnage could also be a factor. Yes, Venom ate him and ate Cletus Cassidy's head, but Carnage may not be truly dead. Remember, Cletus bit Eddie, and that's how he got his symbiote inside him. So I guess the Venom just swallowed the portion again. Maybe some essence of Carnage will corrupt Venom and push him to do some nefarious things, and in No Way Home, I could imagine Venom being evil for the majority of the film, assaulting Spider-Man and cooperating with the other Dark Six members. But eventually, Eddie will reclaim control and assist Venom in removing the Carnage residue so that he may return to being a good guy. Well, as good as Venom can be, and then, in the movie's major confrontation, Venom will pair up with the other Spider-Man and Doctor Strange to take on the Sinister Six. They did some fantastic stuff back there, Venom. Great work, which is exactly what Sony, like the Sinister Six, has intended all along. So, while this film may be a Sony dream come true, you never know when Spider-Man may engage with them. I'm very sure Venom will be returned to his universe at the end of the film, which will allow for future crossovers without the need to maintain Venom in the MCU for multiple films. Of course, Venom could remain, but if I had to bet, I'd say it's unlikely. I'll mention this as a one-off for the time being, but we may still have a different Venom in the MCU, or perhaps some part of him will linger in the MCU universe like a chunk of goo he dropped during the struggle. Thanks to the collective intelligence, the good will develop consciousness and become its own symbiote, and some organization will discover it and experiment on it, which is how we will obtain Agent Venom in the MCU. Perhaps it will form a bond with Flash Thompson or another character. Who else is going to be part of the Sinister Six? Who is behind all of this yet again? Let's begin with the villains who have already been confirmed. Alfred Molina reprises his role as Otto Octavius, arguably the greatest Spider-Man villain of all time. While we don't see Willem Dafoe's devilish smile, there's no mistaking his iconic laugh, and we also see the Green Goblin's pumpkin bomb. The only problem is that both the Green Goblin and Doc Ock died in the Raimi movies. How are they doing now that they've returned? I believe they both come from parallel realities in which they escape their confrontations with Spider-Man implying that the Green Goblin we see in No Way Home was not skewered by his own hoverboard after being stabbed. The glider, on the other hand, killed Peter while Norman escaped. It's possible that the same thing happened with Octavius, so it's a case of what if, or maybe it's nothing too complicated, and they were simply taken from their timelines soon before their deaths, regardless of who sent them to the MCU. Jamie Foxx is also reprising his role as an electrician. In the teaser, we see his lightning, but it's yellow, as it is in the Great Verse. In Amazing Spider-Man 2, an Electron is never actually killed, just as in the comics. We now have 3 confirmed villains, plus Venom, for a total of 4. When rock and gravel fly into the air in the trailer, there may be a hint for Sandman, but I'm quite sure the ground just explodes. Sparkles the Sandman might still appear, but I doubt it. Vultures will not in any way return home, I'm confident. I believe it is only natural that the Sinister Six will comprise 4 villains from alternate universes, with the final 2 coming from the MCU. The Vulture was a fantastic adversary, and he'll fit right in with the Sinister Six. I need to be more Morbius as well. Do you even recall him? At this time, I believe most people have forgotten about the trailer. At the end of the trailer for Morbius, we see Michael Keaton as Adrian Toomes, who has had enough of being a good man. Morbius was planned to be released in July 2020, but due to delays, it was postponed until 2022. However, it's possible that tying Venom 2 and Morbius into No Way Home was always the intention. It's still unknown whether Morbius takes place in the MCU or in another world, but with this crossover, the living vampire might join the Deadly Six. I'm not sure it'll happen. If I'm being completely honest, we're already getting Venom, so by including Morbius, we'll have 2 anti-heroes who are the stars of their own films, as well as the ominous Six. It's a little monotonous, but there's also motivation. I believe it will be appropriate if all of these villains are enlisted because they all despise Spider-Man for different reasons. Morbius has never met Spider-Man before, so it feels a little strange to me, but if it isn't Morbius, the 6th member, it could be a lizard from the Wonderful Spider-Man in the No Way Home trailer. There's a black shadowy shape there that could be the lizard, but I'm 99% certain it's Venom. So by brightening the image, we can see that the figure is a little larger than the lizard and that it looks just like Poison. And while we could still notice the lizard, the villain wasn't that memorable to begin with. As a result, the majority of the audience will forget about him. Mysterio is most likely going to be the final member of the Sinister Six. We're talking about a master illusionist who knows a lot of people who know 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 a lot of people who are faking his own death shouldn't be that difficult. And keep in mind that Peter sought Doctor Strange's assistance because Mysterio had him blamed for everything. Mysterio pretended to die and turned the entire world against Spider-Man, pushing him to take extraordinary actions that result in bizarre thematic messes up. Mysterio must return to complete the story. It's almost poetic again. Please let me know what you think about Venom joining the Sinister Six in the comments area. Thank you very much for taking the time to look at my video. For the time being, that's all I have to say. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and set on post notifications to be notified when new videos are posted.